right, everybody, we are back and we are live this time with Art Hill. Hello, Art. How are you?
Doing fine.
So I received several nominations for you. Actually, 4 gentlemen gave me your name as a legend in the football community in St. Louis, but really beyond that, more of a how you handled, treated, dealt with, motivated, and pushed kids to be the most that they could be, which to me is really a definition of what this Changemakers series is all about. So if you could, before we go into any of that, can you share a little bit about who you are, your name, your background, how long you coached, that kind of stuff?
Well, my name is Art Hill. My family knows me as Jack Hill. That's a family nickname. So I'm either Jack or Art. I taught for 45 years and I coached for 55 years. I coached football for 55 years. I coached baseball for 25. Wrestling for 9, basketball for 10, track for 15. That's my coaching resume. And
Gotcha. Now I did see that you're officially a member of the Hall of Fame. Is it high school football or what is that accolade?
Well, I'm a member of the Missouri Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame and the Metropolitan Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame and the St. Louis Metropolitan Amateur Baseball Hall of Fame.
Is that all? I'm just kidding. That's a lot. That's a lot, Art.
Well, I knew the right people, and they nominated me.
That's great. Well, and that was the same thing that happened with me when I reached out to people of influence that I know and said, who do you know that's made a difference in the lives of kids and the lives of their community? And so that's really where I want to take this conversation. You were instrumental in a lot of kids getting to go to school and getting the training that they needed and getting the help that they needed. And I'm just curious, what inspired you to take such personal interest in really go after that aspect with the kids that you were coaching, teaching, working with?
Well, I grew up in a family I had 3 brothers and 2 sisters. My parents, my mother and father were the 2 most outstanding Christian people I've ever known. And we grew up in that atmosphere. And what we were taught was that we had a place on this earth to do things for other people. And when I started to college, I started in engineering, but after 1 semester, I realized I did not want to be an engineer. And I started thinking about what I wanted to do, and I remembered my high school coach and one of my high school social studies teachers and the impact they had on my life. And that was when I started thinking that I wanted to be a teacher and a coach and make a difference in people's lives. And so I changed my major, and the rest is history.
Wow. When I was talking to you before we came on the air, I think it was a couple of days ago, I asked you how many kids you thought you had an impact on, and you couldn't even fathom a number. And I guess over 55 years of coaching, teaching, doing, it would be hard to, I guess, quantify that. But I'd like to ask you, because so many people have a desire to do something, but they wait until they're prepared. And, I'll give to charity when I have enough to give to charity. I'll volunteer my time when I have an extra 20 hours that I can volunteer. And that wasn't your style from what I've heard. You went in and you got in the trenches right away. Could you speak to that for a minute?
Well, I just I felt that there was a need for me to do something, and as the opportunities opened up for me, it seemed like the more I did, the more opportunities that were opened up to me, and I really felt that I was doing something that I was meant to do, and I felt that I was making a difference. I'm not sure the kids realized it at the time, but one of the good things about having been in teaching and coaching for a long time is that the people I dealt with after they've matured, I've had, I don't know how many people come back and thank me for the help that I gave them along the road, and that that's not why I did it. I did it not to get the praise, but it's kind of nice to get it. And the kids, I gosh, I couldn't even begin to tell you the number of kids. I've never tried to sit down and count it out, but I'm sure it is way up there. And I hope that I have influenced them in a positive way, and given them something to help them along their life's way.
Well, that's great, Art. There's a lot of things that were said about you, very positive, before we came on the air here, including how humble you are. And I've been able to pick up on that. So what you did, I know, had an impact on hundreds, if not thousands, of children. You were instrumental in helping expand and grow the Fellowship of Christian Athletes presence here in the St. Louis area, which is where we're originating this particular broadcast from. And I know that those values and the things that you were involved in had a big impact on people. So, Art, I want to give you the last 30 seconds, and I want to ask you to kind of speak to this. When people see this, they may be inspired to do something that, maybe they were waiting, like we talked about. So what is your advice for someone that is looking to do something but maybe doesn't know where to start?
Well, I tell you, I don't know how many of my former athletes who have gone into business or other areas of life who came to me and after a few years working and asked me how to go about becoming a teacher and a coach, because they felt that that's what they wanted to do. And my advice to them is, number one, be sure that you want to do this. Number two, analyze why you want to do it. And then if things are right in those respects, then just go for it. You can't say I'm going to do this 5 years from now. You just, if you want to get into it, just jump in and do what's necessary to get yourself ready to do it, and then do it. And that's the way I have approached my life, and I can say that it's worked for me. My wife, if she were still around, would tell you that I was a somewhat impetuous person. In that regard, I I scared her a little bit at times when I jumped into things, but she was always very supportive. That's one of the things that I am very thankful for. I had a wife for 54 years who was the most wonderful person in the world, and highly supportive of everything I did. And she was just a Jew. She was an angel.
Well, I'm sure she's looking down on you now and proud of what you've done and proud of the life that you've lived. So I want to thank you for joining us today, Art. Coach, teacher, friend, awesome human being. Thanks for being on here.
Well, thank you for having me. I feel very humble about being able to do this, and I don't know who told you other than Tom Beauchamp. I don't know who else recommended me, but it just goes to show that you can fool a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I think you can only fool people for a little while, and then they see the good or they see the truth. And with you, it's all good. Mr. Hill, thank you so much. Guys, stay with us. We got more Changemakers coming up after this. We got a lot to cover, a lot more people to feature. Art Hill, have a great rest of your day, sir. Thanks for being on Changemakers 21.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.